What's up, guys? FSC Speed Shop. Man, it is nice to have the shop door open for the day, let me tell you. It warmed up here in Wisconsin finally. It's literally, as I pulled up, like 54 degrees out. Man, compared to the videos that I know I've just been editing with the cold, when I was working on my hotline over here, like 14 below zero at night, man, I'm glad hopefully that crap's over with. After all, it is early March right now. I'm not sure when you're actually seeing this video, but it was nice to get out. By the way, guys, I was out running errands today. I shipped out the first bunch of orders of shirts. I really appreciate the fact that as soon as you guys saw my first ad from me dropping my merch, that you guys actually went out and bought it, although these were old leftover shirts that were never worn but were left over, and I'm glad to get rid of some of them. And I dropped them off all today. Now with that, like I said in that ad that I had dropped, as of right now, we're in the development stage of shirts for Orwell, but we are also going to be re-releasing these shirts right here, what I call the OG shop shirts. This shirt here is literally a few years old, and it's spotted up from something I was painting a while back, you know, like a room. And it's got the logo on the back. The new one's just not gonna have the phone number on the back. Yeah, I know I just showed you the phone number. I don't answer calls I don't know, so don't waste your time. But anyway, coming soon, maybe by the time this video comes out, you will see Orwell merch as long as new shop shirts. Also, we're thinking about, you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think? Might put some shirts up with the Mercedes, the Cricket Caper 64 Impala, Mr. Beefy, the 1998 V10 powered Dodge Ram. What else? The new car I gotta go get. As soon as I get this transmission put in this truck, the new car. Haven't talked to you guys about that yet, but we do got a new car coming to the channel. I gotta get out to Tacoma and pick it up off the port. That car was shipped in from Hawaii. My older son gave it to my younger son, and of course, Dad took care of the shipping. So that is what it is. But coming soon, there'll be shirts for that as well. That shirt should really help out the channel on the automotive side. Even last year's Chevelle might do shirts with that. I don't know, we'll see. Either way, enough with the shirt plug. That's where you'll find it, fscspeedshop.com. That's where you'll find the merch. Appreciate it, guys. Really am glad to get rid of some of the older stuff, and I cannot wait to ship out new stuff for you guys. And hopefully one day I'll be walking down the street and see someone, oh wait, I know that shirt. I shipped it out one day. Absolutely, that'd be awesome. Thank you, guys. fscspeedshop.com. Today we're going to go ahead and finish installing this transmission here. Now, what I have done is I got this here brake hose. Actually, it's not even brake hose. This is an air hose that I found was disintegrated, and basically every time I mess with an original hose from this truck, I replace it. This hose, basically all it did is it came from a valve in the back of the transmission and supplied air to the solenoid, which supplies air to the fan clutch. Now there's no air supply on the front passenger side of the truck, so they brought it from the transmission and sent it forward. So rather than deal with that old hose, we're going to go ahead and install that. Also, I did just get back from Peterbilt, and I got some new clamps. Tomorrow the rest of them will be here, but at least the ones next to the transmission I can install now. I do have the old ones, but I'd rather put new ones in. These are them steel clamps that rust away on you when all they do is they hold the hoses and wiring and whatnot to your frame. By the time a truck is about 10 years old, there's nothing left of these, so you go to zip ties. But you can get them at Peterbilt, so they're not really expensive, honestly. Usually stuff from Peterbilt is expensive, but these are not, so it's more of a pain in the ass to change them than it is to buy them. But also, guys, in the last video you saw I put the new rear main seal in it. We verified it was the right seal, and we went ahead and put the flywheel on. This video we're going to get ahead and put the clutch. Behind the transmission is a box with a brand new clutch in it with the updated larger 10-inch hub as opposed to the old, it was 8 and some change. So it's a much bigger hub, stronger hub. It'll definitely take the power. We're not making monster gobs of power here. I know some of you guys are like, oh, you should turn Orwell up, this, that, and the other. Nah, man, Caterpillar spent a lot of money setting up. I know I sound like Alex Joy. Caterpillar spent a lot of money in R&D in building this engine. I really don't think I need to really mess with it. It works good enough. It ran good back in the 80s. It runs good now. It's made me money, so why mess with what works? Perhaps later on I'll change the rear end ratio, get a little more top speed out of it, but maybe. Eventually we're probably going to have to do rears anyway, because I do think those are original, same as that transmission. So with that, let's get this video started. Get the hose in, get the clutch in, and start wrestling that beast all up under there. Let's at it. Now this clutch differs from the other clutch, the one we took out, a little bit. Well, this here, it shows right here, intermediate plate side. So this faces the intermediate plate in the actual pressure plate itself. Now I'm going to show you something that's different. This intermediate plate is held on with these spring tabs, which pulls this disc into that pressure plate. So this is not just going to come out like the other one did. And of course, when it says intermediate plate side, that disc goes in here. Same as over here, intermediate plate side. So the two pieces that say intermediate plate side face each other. That's one thing I want to show you. The other thing I want to show you, other than the heavy weight of this thing, it says heavy, use lifting device, is the adjustment is done with this bolt right here. No longer do we have to take that bolt out, take that finger out, and then work the adjustment, usually with an air hammer, and then put the stud back in. You simply depress the clutch and then turn this nut, see adjustment for wear, so you're going to turn it clockwise. That's how it functions. There's no sponsorship for this clutch. This is just what Badger sold me as a replacement for my old clutch and the type of flywheel that I now have. I've fished this air hose up to the way, you know, where it was original, where it came down and fed the line for the solenoid for the fan clutch. This hose is hooked here to the solenoid. And that's what releases the air. This hose here goes to the fan clutch. This hose here supplies it. Now this clamp right here used to hook onto a bolt right there. I think Peterbilt literally welded these bolts to the frame as opposed to drilling holes. I'm not really sure, but I don't have that ability. And this here is where the two pieces of frame bolt together, because 362s have this larger piece of C-channel that widen out as opposed to other trucks that don't. That's too short. So 362s widen out, so this piece of rail goes from here back and this goes from here forward, and that's part of the factory build on the truck. It's definitely different, but may make it easier if I ever stretch this truck, but I have no plans on that. I know I'm blocking the shot on you guys. Not much I can do about that. There you go. So now our wires are routed the way they were in the factory. Wires and air hoses, I should say. Beautiful. Okay, boys and girls, I'm pretty much ready to go and put the clutch on the flywheel and then bring the transmission in here. But I wanted to show you, I went ahead and rebundled these rear hoses the way it was factory. Now I had them all bungee corded together because those clamps were pretty messed up. But now I've replaced those clamps. So now I've got the fuel lines, air lines, and everything all bundled up like they're supposed to be. Now all I gotta do is put the clutch on, and that's next. I guess as long as I get it close, I'll be able to muscle it in. I think that'll be high enough.
Let's see if I can do this without blocking your view. I grabbed the belt. I grabbed the bolt that's considerably longer than the factory bolts. That should help to guide it on. Now, I have the old transmission's input shaft, which I will use as a clutch alignment tool. There you go. I had to lift the plate a little. This one, intermediate plate side, so it goes into the clutch like so. By the way, the ability to move that disc so that I can get the input shaft in is because of these shipping blocks. It's a good thing I didn't knock them out earlier like an idiot. I'd have looked dumb. Now, one thing I did learn about, at least with exotic cars, there's a thing called clutch indexing where they have to be set at the right clock position for them to be balanced because of the extreme RPM that they run. This clutch doesn't have that. It does just simply say intermediate plate side. That's this. So this side faces the intermediate plate. The other clutch is the same, but doesn't say whether the paddles have to be in opposition or not. So therein lies the question, how do I index the clutch? Or does it even matter? I bet it doesn't matter, but I'm going to index them so that the paddles are directly against each other rather than being between each other. There we go. They're indexed basically so the paddles paddle here. I index it so there's a paddle here and a paddle here, so there's not a gap where it squeezes in between. Again, I don't think it matters. I can't imagine it does, but it might. What do I know? Now the fun part, wrestle this in. Got my torque wrench here set for 50 foot-pounds. So now we go ahead and torque our flywheel, or rather our clutch. Okay, so now we have our excuse me, have our torque set. We don't need this any longer. Take that all out. Okay, so we don't make the mistake in knocking that out. These shipping blocks come right out. So now the clutch is holding itself in now properly. Throwout bearing is positioned. Sure. Oh, I guess it'll go. Yeah, there we go. Throwout bearing positions like so. And now your input shaft should go in and out just oh so sweetly. Matt should be home soon, so I'll do some cleanup while I wait for him. And then we will take the transmission and install it.
We're now ready to put the transmission in the truck, but first I have to put it in gear. I have to be able to twist this shaft without able to grab it like you see here. So I have to grab the yoke and turn it. But right now, she's in neutral. You see, I turn the yoke and the shaft doesn't move. So what we do, take this protective cover off
Just simply a shipping cover, and also a reminder, does not contain oil. That would be a terrible mistake. I'm sure somebody has done that once. So I'll put that cover back on here shortly. Take the cover off, along with this little foamy gasket deal. And there's a replacement gasket. And down in here is the parts that your shifter will move back and forth. So this, even though this is in a Cabover, it really doesn't make a difference as far as how the shifter goes. If you figure your shifter, it hinges back and forth. So you got like your basic shift pattern, which would be reverse, low, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But it works in opposite. So when you're in neutral, it kind of works like this. You go this way, there's reverse, low, first, second, third, fourth. So to put it in fourth gear, you move this one forward. So to put this in fourth gear, we're simply going to jam it forward. So now when I turn the output shaft, the input shaft will turn. Now that it's in gear, when I rotate this output shaft, the input shaft turns now. And this gear is basically, so this will rotate slow. If I put it in first gear and rotate the output shaft, this is going to try to spin really fast. Think about it, it's the exact opposite. First gear, this spins real fast, but your output shaft spins real slow. We would be reversing the process. So now that I have it jammed in high gear, or what I would assume to be high gear, there's no air pressure to work air sliders, I'll be able to get that input shaft to line up with the clutch and be able to turn it. I'll put these back on just so we don't accidentally drop any garbage or anything we don't want inside it. There we go.